I got the receipts, girl. You know I got the receipts. Bright Cellars is the monthly wine club that matches you with wine that you'll love. Get started by taking the Taste Palette quiz to see your personalized matches. Now, Bright Cellars matches you with wines from all over the world, curated to your taste buds. They are focused on finding unique hidden gems from small vineyards all over the world. And with hundreds of private label wines, you'll be able to try a new wine you've never tasted before. All you need to do is take their 7-question quiz so they can gather your taste preferences and deliver wines you're guaranteed to love. Each box is completely unique to your taste palette, meaning no box is ever the same. Each box comes with wine education cards for each bottle that outline the tasting notes, suggested pairings, best serving temperatures, and its origins. Wine wisdom cards help show you how to store and open your wine, keeping it tasting fresh for longer. Now, all Sweet Pea Diaries viewers will get 60% off your first purchase by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks again to Bright Cellars Wines for sponsoring this video. Y'all, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl Sweet Pea, and I am back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel, and if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the Sweet Pea Diaries. Be sure to like the video, share the video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Y'all know what time it is. All right, really quick, we got Courtney Jackson, Cherry Hill, Cassia, Haywood, we got Deion Sanders, my moderator, Love Vibe, Tamara Smart, Michelle, Deja, Tootsie, my member, Miss T, Life with the Leonard Family. We got Daddy Boy, Black and Petty, Sincere Nature, The Art of God. Hey, y'all. All right, listen. Y'all been hitting me up. Deja says R. Kelly needs the money. That's one way to come up. If you broke, go after who owes you. Honey, no, ma'am. This is a lot bigger than that. Okay, I told y'all this was coming. All right, I think maybe about a month ago, I told y'all this was coming. This was coming down the pike, that she was going to be having a lawsuit stemming from the federal situation with the prisons and the prison guide getting that information that she wasn't supposed to be getting. Hey, Sexy Brown Eyes. Hey, Courtney. I told y'all Tasha K had a lot of stuff. You know, she got a lot of lawsuits, okay? She's got the lawsuit with the preacher over there in New York, child. She's got this now coming. She says she's a snitch, all right? She says she got the feds on speed dial. So, honey, get your Fed friends to help you out of this mess, because this right here, this is trouble, all right? Thank you, Sincere, for loving my channel. Now, y'all see that I'm on StreamYard right now because I got the news while I was out and about. I got the news, honey. So I am going to do this video. We are going to look at this court document because we got the receipts. We're going to go over what it is Miss Thang is getting sued for, what R. Kelly is alleging has occurred between her and the goddamn government officials down there to the prison, child. And we're gonna talk about it. I'm going to give you my opinion, what is going on with Tasha K. I'm going to tell you right now, this is karma. Tasha K has done a lot of shit on these YouTube streets. Y'all be snickering and laughing when I be posting what I post on my community wall about this woman. This woman has hired private investigators to investigate YouTubers, okay, to keep people out the goddamn algorithm. All right. She has taken this platform way too serious. All right. She got all types of troll accounts. She got other trolls in the guise of YouTube content creators doing work for her. I looked at her bank statements in this bankruptcy. There are a lot of cash apps that she's giving to people so that she can get shit done, so that she don't have to do it. She got a lot of smaller YouTubers working for her. She has done a lot on these YouTube streets. And all jokes aside, I know I do all the little impersonations and shit, but this woman has done too much, all in the name of YouTube. Was it really worth it? Just so you can hang that bronze plaque in the background with because you got 1 million subscribers. Was it all worth it? This woman has ruined a good thing. She could have 20,000, 50,000 easy coming in a month. She could become a millionaire off of YouTube, but everything she did to get there was a mess. Borderline, well, no, not borderline, illegal, illegal. Okay. We just going to call it out illegal. It wasn't borderline illegal. It was illegal. Many illegal activities being done just to get subscribers, just to be ahead of other people. I say all the time, she is no different from anyone else on this free app. Y'all made this heifer. Okay. Y'all blew her head up, making her think that her lighting was so great, that her platform was so greater than everyone else's. And it went to her head. This is a Google app. This is a free app. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted. It is not supposed to be a syndicate like a goddamn gang. She got so many YouTubers working for her just so they can get free microphones, free information on how to do their YouTube channels, shit that they can learn on Google. Look at me. Look at my channel. Look at all of the improvements that I've made. Right now I'm on StreamYard, but when I go live, y'all know what it's giving. And I did all of that on my own research, learning things by looking at videos, watching other content creators that talk about YouTube channels. That's all you got to do. All of this jealousy that goes down on this platform, it all stems from her. She is the head of all of this. All of this shit that's been going down, she is the head of it. Okay? So R. Kelly is suing Tasha K and the US government over leaked prison records. Okay. Now, y'all remember when Tasha, she was covering R. Kelly, she was getting phone calls, she was getting information from letters, things that no one was supposed to have. She had a prison official giving her the tea, just like she had Chelsea getting hospital records. All you fools out there that are having your jobs affected, that are putting your careers on the line, your possible pensions, 401ks, all of this shit you're putting on the line so that a blogger can go viral, so that a woman can get her free app popping. Y'all risked real life consequences. And now look, there's real life trouble. This is a federal lawsuit. This is serious, and she's in deep shit. She thinks that this damn shit with Cardi B, like I told you guys last time, the Cardi B lawsuit is the least of her worries, is the least of her concerns. The shit with the IRS, and now this, Tasha K might as well go on ahead and log off. She should have logged off a long time ago, but Tasha K is headed for prison. Okay, this woman is headed straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. She's on her way to jail. Mark my words. All these prison cells that people is wishing on me, your leader is going to be in the prison cell. All of you that are working for Tasha K, coming after me, all of y'all that are involved in that troll farm, the very jail cell that you wish for me is the jail cell that Tasha K is going to be calling y'all from. She's going to be making collect calls. And are you guys going to take her collect calls? Are y'all going to take those JPay calls? Are y'all going to put money on her books? Is the winos going to put money around there to the books? That's what I want to know. This is karma. This is what you call karma. See, what you do in public, you get dragged in public. See, when you do shit like this, you do sneaky, underhanded shit. God makes sure that you get yours in public in front of everyone. All of this is happening on the internet. It's happening on YouTube because you did it on YouTube. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Y'all wait until this lawsuit really gets going and we really start seeing what really went down. The shit that these people were willing to do just so that Tasha K can go viral. That means she paid these people. They're going to find that she paid these people. You think you can go and get you a little Chase bank account and try to make it look good because you went and got a new account? Honey, they're going to track down all those old accounts and find out all the money you've been paying people, paying investigators, doing all this dirty, underhanded shit. You reap what you sow, and it is coming to fruition. The chickens have come home to roost. That's why I laugh at all these little small itty bitty YouTubers that do all this shit for Tasha K, because look at her now. Look at your mammy now. Look at her now. Federal lawsuit. Let's pull up these documents. And I didn't have time to do any watermarking or anything, and I really don't care because, honey, everybody's going to have these. I'm not worried about it. Let's go. Hey, Canelo. This is the complaint, okay? Now, Robert S. Kelly, by his undersigned attorney, for his complaint against the United States unknown BOP officer A, unknown John and Jane Doe BOP officers collectively, and Latasha Kibi, also known as Tasha K. Those are the people that he is filing this suit against. The U.S. government, United States of America, the unknown BOP officer A, unknown John and Jane Doe BOP officers, and Latasha Kibi. So right now, they don't know who these people are, honey, but they're going to know because all they got to do is comb through her videos. They'll find out who it is because there's a video with the woman on it. So they're going to get that information because everyone that is on the internet that knows about this, the R. Kelly fans, they're going to get that information over to R. Kelly's team, just like the Barty gang gets the information to Cardi B. Now, R. Kelly sues the U.S. unknown BOP officer, also known as Officer A, unknown John and Jane Doe BOP officers, and Latasha Kibi. He sues them for negligence, invasion of privacy, conversion, civil conspiracy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and willful and wanton conduct brought under the Federal Tort Claims Act. The plaintiff also brings suit against defendant BOP Officer A for violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. The plaintiff is a high-profile prisoner of the Bureau of Prisons. He is a Grammy Award-winning recording artist and a nationally recognized celebrity. As with all prisoners, but particularly because of the plaintiff's status, the United States of America, through the BOP, had a duty to protect the plaintiff and his private and sensitive information, to ensure that its employees did not exploit the plaintiff for financial gain, or for any other reason. The defendant, United States of America, breached its duty of care to the plaintiff when it allowed countless BOP officers to access the plaintiff's confidential information without any legal basis to do so. The defendant, United States of America, knew that the defendant, BOP Officer A, and other defendant, John and Jane Doe BOP officers, routinely accessed the plaintiff's private information from its systems and divulged private information to third parties for monetary gain, clout, or simple harassment. Because of the United States of America's breach, at least 60 BOP officers made unauthorized access to the plaintiff's sensitive, confidential, and private information maintained by the BOP on its electronic system known as TrueView. Some of those BOP officers either shared and or sold that information to third parties, including members of the media and witnesses in plaintiff's criminal prosecution. Defendant, unknown BOP Officer A, accessed the plaintiff's private BOP records, including email communications, visiting lists, inmate trust account information, and recorded phone calls with third parties and plaintiff's attorneys without authority to do so. The information was private and concerned personal matters. It was not public information. After unlawfully accessing the foregoing protected information, defendant BOP Officer A unlawfully downloaded the information and sold said information to defendant Kibi, a popular YouTube blogger with over 1 million subscribers, who published the private information publicly without identifying how she received it. Defendant Kibi rallied her massive following to harass the plaintiff with the use of the stolen information and created chaos in the plaintiff's personal life, even using the information to influence witnesses in the plaintiff's EDNY criminal prosecution. On information and belief, the stolen information was shared with and used by prosecutors from United States Attorney's Officer as a tool to influence witnesses against the plaintiff. The sale of the information yielded profits that neither the defendant BOP Officer A nor defendant Kibi were entitled to, and which belonged to the plaintiff, if anyone. The Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General investigation initiated a secret investigation into the unauthorized access of the plaintiff's sensitive information. The department did not inform the plaintiff of the investigation and never has. The plaintiff later learned that the investigation resulted in the issuance of a search warrant for a BOP computer used by defendant BOP Officer A and forensic analysis of the computer. According to an affidavit of Special Agent Matt Liu of the Department of Justice, later obtained by the plaintiff's attorney, probable cause existed to believe that the defendant BOP Officer A committed a criminal violation of 18 U.S.C. 130 A2B, that is, unauthorized access of a computer to obtain information from the Federal Prison Bureau of Prisons. No charges were brought against the defendant BOP Officer A, and the government has refused to reveal any details about the investigation, including the identity of Officer A. In short, there has been a cover-up of the rampant BOP misconduct that is ongoing. Even after this so-called investigation, unlawful access of the plaintiff's TrueView records continued. Even after being put on notice of repeated violations of the CFAA by BOP employees, the United States failed to protect the plaintiff and breached its duty to protect his private and sensitive information. For example, defendant unknown John or Jane Doe BOP officer made an unauthorized access to the plaintiff's TrueView records and obtained information about the plaintiff's trust account funds in August of 2022. That unknown defendant BOP officer divulged the information to a journalist for the Washington Post, who then published the personal information. The publication not only placed the plaintiff in a false light, it falsely suggesting that he was concealing his resources. The monies were actually generous gifts from his loyal fan base. But this resulted in the DOJ confiscating nearly all of the plaintiff's monies held in his prison trust account, over $25,000. The plaintiff was forced to pay for legal services to litigate the unjustified taking of the money, an issue that is now pending before the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Plaintiff maintains that the DOJ had no authority to confiscate those funds, which would have not occurred in any event if the information was not leaked to the public by a defendant unknown John or Jane Doe BOP officer. Defendant BOP officers committed the torts of invasion of privacy, conversion, civil conspiracy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and willful and wanton misconduct. The defendant BOP officers, including defendant BOP officer A, also committed violations of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. The plaintiff suffered a multitude of loss and damages as a result of the defendant United States of America's negligence and the torts committed by defendant BOP officer A and other unknown John and Jane Doe BOP officers, including but not limited to legal fees and emotional and psychological distress. Separately, losses in excess of $5,000 accrued as a result of the CFAA violation committed by defendant BOP officer A. The misconduct resulted in an internal investigation by the BOP, an investigation by the DOJ, OIG, and both the seizure and examination of a BOP computer hard drive. Now, the jurisdiction and the venue. The court has subject matter jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1331, in that this action arises under the laws of the United States of America and is premised on the acts and omission of the defendants acting under color of federal law. This court further has subject matter jurisdiction pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 1030G, which permits an individual who suffers damage by reason of a violation of the CFAA to bring a private cause of action. The action is timely filed where it is brought within 2 years of the discovery of the damage. This court further has subject matter jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1346B, where the plaintiff sues the defendant, the United States of America, for money damages, for injury caused by the negligent and wrongful acts and employees of the government while acting within the course and scope of their office or employment, under the circumstances where the defendant is a private person, would be liable to the plaintiff. The jurisdiction founded upon the federal law is proper, and that the action is premised on federal causes of action under the Federal Tort Claims Act, FTCA, pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 2671. Pursuant to FTCA, the plaintiff filed a notice of claim on November 14, 2022, and served his claim to appropriate federal agency for administrative settlement under the FTCA, requesting $1 million or more. Now, by a letter dated June 15, 2023, the plaintiff's claim was denied in writing by the North Central Regional Office of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and such denial was sent by certified mail to the plaintiff's counsel. Now, this action is timely pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 2401B, in that it was presented to appropriate federal agencies within 2 years of accrual, and this action was filed within 6 months of the receipt of the certified letter sent by the federal agency denying the claim. This court also enjoys supplemental jurisdiction if necessary under 28 U.S.C. 1367 in connection with claims against defendant Keeby, who, if not acting as a contractor for the federal government, is liable for claims that are so related to the claims in the action within such original jurisdiction that they form part of the same case or controversy. Venue is proper in this district pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391B and 1391C, as defendants do business in this jurisdictional district, and a substantial part of the events giving rise to the claim occurred in this judicial district. Now, the parties. The plaintiff, R.S. Kelly, is a 56-year-old Chicago native. He is indisputably the king of R&B, child. Okay, they said he is the king. All right, in this lawsuit, honey, they said R. Kelly is the king of R&B. He is currently an inmate incarcerated in the Butner Federal Correctional Center in Butner, North Carolina. At times relevant to this complaint, the plaintiff was an inmate at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, Illinois. The defendant, United States of America, is subject to suit for injury caused by the negligent and wrongful acts and omission of employees of the government while acting within the course and scope of their office and employment under the circumstances where the defendant, if a private person, would be liable to the plaintiff pursuant to FTCA. At all times, material to this action, unknown BOP officer, known as Officer A, was a federal BOP disciplinary hearing officer and a law enforcement official employed by the BOP. They had access to the BOP's TrueView system. Although the plaintiff does not know the true identity of Officer A, the BOP does. She is the officer identified in the search warrant application and affidavit of Agent Matt Liu that was provided to plaintiff by the U.S. Attorney's Office in June of 2022 during the plaintiff's prosecution in the Northern District of Illinois. At all times, material to this action, unknown John and Jane Doe BOP officers were BOP officers assigned to the Chicago MCC and perhaps other BOP institutions. They had access to the BOP's TrueView system as well. Now, although the plaintiff does not know the identities of the 60 different BOP officers who made unauthorized access to his confidential information, the BOP knows these people, okay? Now, the plaintiff sues each and every BOP officer who accessed his confidential information without authority and whose identities are available from the BOP. Now, at all times, material to this action, Tasha K is a resident of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, they said at the time she was a resident of Lawrenceville, Georgia. We know she's in Florida now. She is a popular YouTube host with a YouTube channel called Unwind with Tasha K. She broadcasts content to 1.3 million subscribers across the country, including in Chicago. Now, the plaintiff was arrested in United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois, on July 11, 2019, in connection with a 13-count indictment, United States versus Kelly. Shortly thereafter, the plaintiff was separately indicted in United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York in connection with RICO charges brought under case number 19 CR 286. Now, after his arrest, the plaintiff was detained in the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, the MCC. He was there for nearly 2 years until he was transferred to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn to face trial in the EDNY case in and around June 21st of 2021. Now, during this period of time, the plaintiff was a pretrial detainee. Now, while detained in the MCC in and around January 2020, the plaintiff's longtime girlfriend, Jane Doe, began behaving in a hostile and accusatory fashion toward the plaintiff without explanation. Jane Doe was furious with the plaintiff and unexpectedly began causing stress and conflict in the relationship. These arguments related to money issues, romantic issues, and other highly personal issues. The plaintiff later learned that in and around that time, Jane Doe abruptly began cooperating with the government, which led to her becoming the government's star witness against him in the EDNY prosecution. In and around that time, defendant Kiwi, a popular YouTube blogger, began publishing information to her 1.1 million subscribers and other viewers, private information about the plaintiff to which she would not have had access. Defendant Kiwi did not reveal how she received said confidential information. Just by way of example, on November 7, 2019, defendant Kiwi posted a video on YouTube titled, "R. Kelly Can't Control His Girlfriend's while behind bars. Kibi told her viewers that the information came from a phone tap somewhere. Kibi disclosed information that appeared to come from the plaintiff's prison calls with Jane Doe and his girlfriend J.S. Kibi appeared to disclose private and personal information about the plaintiff's romantic relationships. Defendant Kibi proceeded to divulge to her YouTube viewers the contents of the plaintiff's prison phone calls with his girlfriend and others, email communications about his private life, and legal issues with numerous people, visitor logs, and trust account information on numerous other occasions. Again, without disclosing from where she received the information or how she received the information. Plaintiff was incarcerated and had no ability to watch Kibi's YouTube channel or learn the specific information that was being said by defendant Kibi. At one point, the plaintiff visited with Jane Doe and was shocked and confused when Jane Doe accused him of making certain statements concerning his personal life that were only shared with the plaintiff's lawyer at the time. Jane Doe refused to divulge how she received the information, but claimed that she was privy to the plaintiff's conversations with his attorneys. The plaintiff had no idea how certain private information was making its way into the public domain. In early 2020, the BOP went on a complete lockdown as a result of the pandemic for a year. Attorney visits were conducted entirely by phone call, and eventually Zoom visits and face-to-face visits did not resume until late 2022. It is unclear how many of the plaintiff's attorney-client communications were shared with third parties by defendant BOP Officer A, or why these communications were being recorded at all. In June of 2021, the plaintiff was transferred to MDC in Brooklyn, New York, to stand trial in his RICO prosecution. His federal RICO trial commenced on August 9th of 2021, and a jury returned a verdict against him on September 27th of 2021. Now, the plaintiff's current counsel filed an appearance in the Thank you. Thank you. In the EDNY case in October 2021 for the purpose of handling post-trial motions and the eventual appeal. Her role expanded after the plaintiff's original trial lawyers withdrew from the EDNY case January of 2022. Now, undersigned counsel filed an appearance in the Northern District case on February 18th of 2022, and with her legal team began preparing for the plaintiff's Northern District trial scheduled to commence in August. Now, after the counsel's legal team received information about the unauthorized and illegal taking and selling of the plaintiff's private information, counsel sought discovery from the government. So, I'm going to pause right here for a moment. When I'm reading all of this, what I am noticing is that they knew that these people were accessing R. Kelly's information. Now, this doesn't mean we're not getting into guilty, not guilty, the details of the case, what he did. We're not talking about that, okay? We are talking about why would you know and allow employees to access someone's records just because he had a famous case, just because it was a lot around this case. You knew that people were accessing his records, but yet you allowed it to occur. And then you had an internal investigation where the government knows who these people are, what they've done, and yet there has been no consequences, no type of reprimanding, nothing. And then they don't even want to give over the information to his attorneys. For those who say that he don't have no case, that Tasha, that this is going to blow over, absolutely not. Because the government is not going to want to take the fall for this. They're going to get on somebody's ass, and Tasha is going to be the one that ass they get on because of the fact that she was the one bringing the information to the public. Okay? She was paying those officers, paying those guards. They were giving her the information and she was bringing it to the public. So absolutely, this is serious. This is an issue. And the United States government, they are to blame as well because they allowed it to happen. And she did all of this to go viral, all of this so that she would be the first one to have an exclusive. Are you serious? Risking your life, risking federal time just so that you can be on YouTube. Ma'am, why do you take this? All jokes aside, I'm dead serious. Tasha K, why do you take YouTube so serious? That's something I've been dying to ask you, girl. Why do you take this shit so serious, ma'am? It's not that deep, ma'am. This is a free app. This is not a network deal. This is not no contract that you got with the mob, child. This is a free app, my dear. Thank you, Spit and Fire. Spit and Fire says facts. It's not that deep, ma'am. Twisted. Greed. Period. Now on, let's see where we at. Plaintiff's current counsel filed an appearance in the EDNY case in October of 2021 for the purpose of handling post-trial motions and the eventual appeal. Her role expanded after the plaintiff's original trial lawyers withdrew from the EDNY case by January of 2022. Now, the undersigned counsel filed an appearance in the Northern District case on February 18th of 2022, and with her legal team, they began preparing for the plaintiff's Northern District trial scheduled to commence in August. After the counsel's legal team received information about the unauthorized and illegal taking and selling of the plaintiff's private information, the counsel sought discovery from the government. Okay. So on June 14th of 2022, the attorneys for the government produced to the plaintiff's counsel an application and affidavit for a search warrant under the case caption in the matter of the search of the HP desktop computer bearing serial number 2UA848OJG 51506. The materials did not include the plaintiff's name or any BOP officer's name. Neither the plaintiff nor his counsel had access to the anonymously filed search warrant application and affidavit until it was produced by the government on June 14th of 2022. The government refused to provide any additional information despite the plaintiff's request. And I'm not feeling that. Why are they holding back information? These are your employees that clearly breached confidentiality, privacy rules, all of that. And you're holding back the information. So this is a cover up. They basically covered this up because who it was, because the government had an interest in prosecuting R. Kelly. So at the same time, they didn't want to help R. Kelly when they had an interest in prosecuting R. Kelly. That's what it looks like to me. Now, according to the materials produced in June 2022, Special Agent of the Department of Justice of the Inspector General, Matt Liu, Agent Liu, he executed an affidavit in support of a search warrant for a computer located in the Northern District of Illinois related to a violation of 18 USC 1030 A2B. That is the unauthorized access of a computer by obtaining information from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Now, the agent Liu averred that the OIG received information from the BOP that unknown BOP Officer A was suspected of accessing sensitive law enforcement information maintained on the BOP's electronic systems and providing that the sensitive information to an individual who then released the information on social media platforms. So right here, this tells you that Agent Liu received information from the BOP that they already knew that Officer A gave this information to Tasha. They knew this already. And when Tasha K brags about being on speed dial with the government, that is because they already had contacted her. They've been talking to her about this. She's been under investigation about this, but they was probably covering it up. Well, now, honey, the world knows, and R. Kelly, they are suing you and the government. And I smell jail time. Okay. Tasha K is not going to be able to wiggle her way or worm her way out of this one. This is serious. This is a federal violation. This is a invasion of privacy. This is a crime on the highest level, because information that is protected by the government, and you have employees that take background checks, they get fingerprinted, all of this, they sign contracts that state that they are not going to divulge information to the public, let alone sell it. Okay. So when they get to tracking things down, that's why Tasha got rid of certain bank accounts. That's why when she filed her bankruptcy, she came with this new Chase account that only had $95 in it. Probably was a new account, or either it was emptied out. But there's reasons that she produced a new Chase account and not an, not an old bank account, because then they would have seen all of these other transactions. But hey, baby, I'm here to tell you, digital footprints, they don't never go away. All they got to do, what other bank accounts you have had, and all they got to do is go to the banks and get that information. Credit unions, banks, wherever. This woman thinks that she can do no wrong, that she can go over every law that is in place, that she's above every law, every rule, every regulation that there is. She thinks she is above the law. She really does. That's why when she was out here crying about Cardi B forgiving her, that is a bunch of bullshit, is a crock of shit. Because if Cardi were to forgive her and somehow be able to miraculously wipe this debt away from her, she would be right back dragging her. Ha ha, I told you so. Ha ha, bitch, we got you. And she would be right back to the shit the next day. So Cardi better not ever, ever be fooled by this witch. This woman is a witch. She do anything in the name of clout, anything in the name of subscribers, period. Hold on, you guys. This is just a mess, but we knew this was coming. So Agent, like I said, Agent Lou averred that the OIG received information from the BOP that unknown BOP Officer A was suspected of accessing sensitive law information maintained on the BOP's electronic systems and providing that sensitive information to an individual who then released the information on social media. Now, specifically, the warden of the MCC in Chicago reported an allegation of staff misconduct to the BOP Office of Internal Affairs when MCC staff became aware that unknown BOP officers, including defendant BOP Officer A, had stolen the plaintiff's sensitive information from the BOP's electronic system, known as the True View system, without authority to do so. So the warden of the MCC reported this to the Internal Affairs Office after they became aware that their employees were doing this. Did anyone get in trouble? The BOP's True View system is an application that contains information on the inmates, including inmate emails, inmate telephone calls, inmate visitation lists, and inmates, their funds, like their books, money that goes on their books. Now, the True View system contains information from various other applications and systems existing on the BOP's network infrastructure. The information available on TrueView includes information from BOP application TruePhone, the inmate telephone system, which houses recording of inmate telephone calls. Now, Agent Lou's investigation showed that unknown BOP Officer A had not only made unauthorized access to R. Kelly's TrueView records, but stole information from those records, downloaded the information, and then divulged that information to Tasha K. Now, Tasha K then revealed that stolen and sensitive information to the public and to specific third parties, including Jane Doe. On information and belief, defendant Kibi and other unknown individuals bought the information from the unknown BOP officer A. So not only do they know that Tasha had the information, but they also know that she gave it to someone else. Okay, Jane Doe. Now, we all know who Jane Doe is, okay? R. Kelly's girlfriend, right? Jane Doe, all right? That's who Jane Doe is, okay? Now, we also know that they know that she bought this information. And that's where the crime also becomes federal, because there were monies exchanged. And remember when we went over this before, when they said if they can find the money, that's where you're really in trouble. The information constituted inter alia private conversations between plaintiff and Jane Doe and his girlfriend J.S. The communications related to personal and private relationship matters, financial issues, and even attorney-client matters. Although the plaintiff did not know at the time how Jane Doe obtained the information, when the plaintiff had the opportunity to learn of the contents of Agent Liu's affidavit, he deduced that the information had been stolen by the unknown defendant BOP officer, sold to defendant Kibi, and then exploited for profit when defendant Kibi divulged it to the public and to other third parties, including Jane Doe. Defendant Kibi recently admitted on one of her broadcasts that she did obtain the information from defendant BOP officer A, and not only disseminated the information publicly, but provided additional information to Jane Doe and others, including Jane Doe's family members, for the purpose of interfering with the plaintiff's criminal prosecutions. So now, who is that? That's Azriel and her family. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is Azriel Clary and her family that Tasha K was divulging that information to and was sharing that information with. The release of this private information on the internet, creating a feeding frenzy about the plaintiff's personal life, his relationship with Jane Doe and J.S., and resulted in the termination of certain important relationships that the plaintiff enjoyed with other individuals. The unauthorized release of the information led to a physical fight between Jane Doe and J.S. that made national news, the theft of thousands of dollars, and chaos and discord in the plaintiff's life. Furthermore, because information about the plaintiff's visiting list and trust fund balances became public news, the plaintiff was no longer able to enjoy certain important and supportive relationships with people. So what they're suggesting here is, because there was certain information from these tapes and information that Tasha was getting and she was releasing, people that were supporting R. Kelly stopped supporting him. That's what they are alluding to. Defendant Kibi released the names of certain individuals who supported the plaintiff, publicly shamed those people, calling them enablers, and interfered with those relationships. And we know that because the lady that was supporting R. Kelly, that was paying for certain things, Tasha released who that woman was. They doxed that woman. I think she had a business or something like that. And so once it became known that she was helping, she stopped helping because the winos and everyone was going after this woman. So anything that was being done behind the scenes in support of R. Kelly became known from these tapes, from this communication. This is an issue. This is a serious violation. Definitely. Understandably, the plaintiff's associates did not wish to be harassed or have their employment put in jeopardy because of the illegal conduct of defendants BOP officer A and Kibi. The plaintiff suffered significant emotional distress as a result of the release of this information, and further worried about what other private information was in the hands of third parties. Both before and even after the plaintiffs learned about Agent Liu's affidavit, the plaintiff spent sleepless nights, distressed and confused how his private conversations had been leaked to the public, and who was responsible for it. Importantly, the plaintiff suffered emotional distress because he did not feel at liberty to freely speak with his attorneys. The plaintiff learned that his attorney-client communications were not only recorded, but the information from those calls were released to Jane Doe and presumably others. The plaintiff did not and still does not know the extent to which his private information has been divulged publicly. Agent Liu's investigation revealed that from the period of July 15th of 2019 through January 8th of 2020, 60 different BOP officers had accessed the plaintiff's TrueView records, including the defendant unknown BOP officer A. Indeed, the defendant unknown BOP officer A engaged in unauthorized access to the plaintiff's TrueView records a whopping 153 times. That woman accessed R. Kelly's account 153 times. That means she was going in there, printing shit, recording shit, screenshotting shit 153 times. To this day, the plaintiff still does not know the extent of his damages, injuries, and loss, as the government has refused to disclose to the plaintiff information about what the investigation revealed and the precise nature of the stolen information. And they owe that to him. That is his information. And the government is trying to cover it up because the government allowed the breach to occur. 60 different employees act. Why did all those people act? Why do all those people have access to TrueView? Usually when you're working at a prison or working somewhere, you only need access to the systems to do your job, okay? In the capacity that is needed to do your work. Now, the fact that 60 different people had access, I know the prisons are big, and I know a lot of people do a lot of different things, but 60 people, that just tells me that was just a feeding frenzy. They knew R. Kelly was there, and what R. Kelly's team is saying and what the argument is, they knew he was a celebrity. They knew that people were going to be digging through his shit because he was a celebrity, so they needed to protect him, and they do that for people that are high, celebrities and people that have a press around their case, what do you call that? High risk inmates or whatever. They know that these people have people that are watching them. So they protect them even more. They might put them in protective custody or something like that. So you should have really been watching. But the fact that they knew that 60 people had access, that tells me that they were watching. They knew that people were accessing it because they themselves was doing it. The managers, the people that were high ranking was even doing it. Right. High profile. Thank you, Toby. High profile celebrities, high profile inmates, people that their trials are being on the news and shit, the coverage of their cases. They protect them even more because they know that people are going to be trying to get those records. But because it was R. Kelly, because the public was shaming him, because his case was so sensitive, they didn't care. They didn't care. The government had a personal stake in this anyway. So the fact that they don't want to give him this information and they don't want to tell the extent, they're going to have to. Okay? They're going to have to. So Agent Liu's investigation showed that the private sensitive information was viewed from November 8th of 2019 to December 22nd of 2019. The information included private information about his literacy, his medical issues, private information about his romantic relationships. And at no point did defendant Kibi reveal the identity of the person who provided her with the information. Indeed, the identity of the individual who revealed the information to Kibi remains a mystery until today. Agent Liu's investigation further showed that unknown BOP officer A stole the plaintiff's records from the TrueView system, scanned those records, and then emailed that scan to third parties, including Kibi. The content of those materials were published on defendant Kibi's YouTube channel. Defendant unknown BOP officer A was not the only BOP officer who engaged in unauthorized access of the plaintiff's private records. Indeed, Agent Liu reported that at least 60 BOP officers had made unauthorized access to R. Kelly's confidential records during a six-month period. The BOP knows the precise identity of all of those officers who engaged in that conduct. And even after the BOP discovered these rampant violations of the CFFA, they allowed the behavior to continue. Okay, nobody got fired, nobody's access got terminated or nothing. The plaintiff learned that in and around August 4th of 2022, an unknown officer made an unauthorized access to his TrueView records and obtained information about his inmate funds, what was on his books. That unknown BOP officer leaked that information about the balance of the funds in his trust account to a journalist for the Washington Post, who published an article with the stolen information provided by the defendant unknown BOP officer. Immediately after the journalist divulged the information, the funds in the plaintiff's trust account were confiscated by the United States Attorney's Office. The plaintiff was forced to hire counsel to litigate whether the U.S. Attorney's Office had the right to confiscate the funds where no restitution judgment had been entered against the plaintiff, and he was not in arrears for paying any court-ordered fees or costs. So they just came up on in there and took his money because this information had been, leaked to the public. So how are you going to take his money off his books because your employee's been stealing? I mean, like I said, I'm not in no way, shape, or form covering up the situation of the case, but this right here, what we're talking about, the violation of his privacy. Everyone deserves privacy. Jeffrey Dahmer had privacy, child. Okay. Eileen Wuornos had privacy. Okay. Charles Manson had privacy. Everyone had privacy. Why R. Kelly can't have his privacy? Now, the plaintiff promptly filed a notice of claim on November 14, 2022, and served his claim to the appropriate federal agency for administrative settlement under FTCA, requesting $1 million or more. By letter dated June 15, 2023, the plaintiff's claim was denied in writing by the North Central Regional Office of Federal Prisons, and such denial was sent by certified mail to the plaintiff's counsel. This complaint comes less than 6 months after the plaintiff's claim was denied. Hold on, you guys. Okay, so the cause of action. The first cause of action is negligence. Okay, he's filing this against the United States of America. The plaintiff repeats and realleges all of the paragraphs in this complaint as it fully is set forth herein. The Federal Bureau of Prisons is a United States federal law enforcement agency within the U.S. Department of Justice that operates U.S. federal prisons and is responsible for the care, custody, and control of federal prisoners. Y'all go ahead and hit that Cash App too. Bless your girl, because I'm reading, I'm like speed reading this. Okay, y'all go ahead and bless me. Tip your girl. Thank you. I see one came through. I meant to shout that out. Thank you so much for the Cash App. And go ahead and continue. Bless, bless, bless. I love you guys. All right. So the plaintiff's repeats and alleges everything that he said. Okay. He said that the defendant, United States of America, owed a duty of care to him because he was incarcerated in their jail. Okay. The defendant stood in such relationship with the plaintiff that the law imposed on the defendant an obligation of reasonable conduct for the benefit of the plaintiff, including protecting his confidential and sensitive information, including attorney-client communications, and to protect him from exploitation from their damn employees, okay, that could result in harassment and prejudice to his pending criminal cases. He's saying that y'all owed me that, okay? I am a citizen. I'm a, citizen of the United States. You were supposed to protect me from your goddamn employees. They exploited me. They took my information and I had criminal cases going on at the time. They are alleging that this affected his cases. They're saying that this affected the case that he had going on. And I agree with that. I agree that there was a lot of personal information that was being leaked. Even though he was going down, the government was trying to make sure he was going down. They still were putting out information, and Tasha was to blame. Tasha was spearheading this campaign of putting out R. Kelly's personal information. Now, did the government hire you to do that, Tasha K? Because some people are alleging that the government hired your ass to do that, which is why they may have been protecting you. Is that why you say you got the government on speed dial? You got agents on speed dial? Did they hire you? Now, as set out in details above, the defendant, United States, breached that duty when it permitted countless of officers, including unknown BOP officer A, unlimited access to information, the ability to download it, and the ability to sell and divulge it, in which unknown BOP officer A did when she provided the private information to defendant Kibi. Now, he's saying here that they allowed this information to be accessed so easily and readily. Like usually when you have firewall and different things, it might be only read only. You might not be able to actually print things off or download, and be able to email it. It should be encrypted, different things like that. They're saying here that it was just a free for all, that it was just willy-nilly. Anybody could just get this shit. And I agree with that because it was a high profile. Nobody should be able to access this information. It should have been very protected and guarded. Only certain officials, maybe the warden or the DA or the lawyer just for that prison should have had all the employees, you know what I mean? Correctional officers, people like that. What did they need it for? What did they need it for? All they do is just transport prisoners. What did they need to have access to his phone calls and records and all of that? They needed to lock that down. Now, the breach was a direct and proximate cause of plaintiff's injuries, namely the release and dissemination of his private and confidential information to third parties and the public at large. The public dissemination of private communications, including attorney-client communications, inferred with the plaintiff's relationships. It led to harassment for the public and caused serious prejudice to his case. The defendant, United States, knew or should have known that by allowing unfettered access to his private information, BOP officers would access, they would steal, and they would exploit that information for financial gain or for clout. The plaintiff suffered emotional and psychological distress from this breach, where his sensitive information was used to harass him, interfere with his personal relationships, and it was used to interfere with the defense of his pending case. The plaintiff also suffered monetary damages, including but not limited to legal fees. Now, the second cause of action was invasion of privacy. This is against the unknown defendant BOP officer, known as Officer A. This is also against another John and Jane Doe BOP officers whose identities have been concealed by the DOJ and BOP, and this is also against Tasha K. The fact that they are concealing these people's identities, it tells you a lot right here. It tells you that the government is involved in this, and they were involved in this. Yes, Bella Michelle, I have PayPal. My PayPal is Sweet Pea Diaries. There's the PayPal. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah. This tells me that the government was involved in this, because why would they shield the names of these people? Why would they hide the identities? Why nobody is paying for this? They already did a search warrant. They already issued a search warrant. They already had an investigation. And yet Nobody was held liable. Nothing happened. It smells like a cover up. The plaintiff repeats and realleges all the paragraphs in the complaint for this second cause of action. Okay. He's saying that unknown BOP officer A and another officer, BOP officers, Jane Doe, BOP officer A, John and Jane Doe, BOP officers, they committed repeated unlawful and unauthorized intrusions into R. Kelly's confidential and sensitive information. The intrusion is highly offensive and objectionable to a reasonable person. Although certain privacy rights are forfeited when an individual is arrested and incarcerated, the plaintiff, who was not yet convicted, still maintained a recognized privacy interest in his communications, his visitor list information, his trust account information, and his attorney-client communications per the BOP's express policies. This information, set out in detailed fashion above, was defined as private and confidential by the BOP itself. The information was not for public consumption. The plaintiff had every right to trust that his messages with third parties, his phone calls with his friends, family, and his lawyers would remain under the care and control of the BOP and not be published to the media for financial gain or in connection with interfering with his right to obtain a fair trial. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. They better be careful, because his trial, this could actually be overturned. That verdict can be overturned. And I really believe that R. Kelly got a damn good chance of this verdict being overturned, because this is messy. This is very messy. The fact that they have language in this brief that says this man wasn't even convicted yet, which is true. His trial was ongoing. And so this could have affected the jury. This could have affected people's, the way they saw this case. You don't know if the jury had heard this before they were picked, even though people say they didn't know nothing about it, and they try to pick a jury of your peers that don't really know about the case. Everybody knew about this R. Kelly trial. This is messy. Tasha K, you in danger, girl. You stay in some shit. This is troublesome. Again, all for the internet. All for the internet. Thank you for the PayPal, boo. All for the internet. This information, set out in detailed fashion above, was defined as private and confidential by the BOP. Okay, let's just keep saying that. It was supposed to be private and confidential. Now, you may have gotten away with giving out, let's just say, okay, the phone calls was leaked between the girlfriends, right? The money was about how much money he had on the books, that was leaked. But when you start talking about his conversations with his attorneys was leaked, that's where you got a problem. Because the attorney client privilege, that whole thing, being secretive with your attorney and only telling your attorney information, and you have confidence in knowing that only your attorney knows this, the jail has a right, they have a duty to protect that information. That's what they're supposed to be doing. They are supposed to be protecting these phone calls, especially with your lawyer, about your case. And this shit was getting out to the public before he was even going to court. And where was it coming? By way of Tasha K. That YouTube channel is coming down. This messy ass platform where she has done all of this shit, that YouTube channel is coming down. It's coming down. When it comes to the government protecting the government, she gonna take the fall for this. Tasha K, you might have been used as a pawn, you might have been used as a plant, but honey, you're gonna take the fall for this. The government ain't going to they're not going to protect you. You're going to take the fall for this. You're going to pay for your part. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, as reflected above, the communications were private in nature. They related to personal and family problems, romantic interests, health problems, literacy issues, and issues related to the defense of his pending criminal cases. Clearly, the plaintiff's conversations with his girlfriend, JS, and we know who that is, those conversations were personal, private, as were the plaintiff's conversations with his attorneys. Simply put, the information was not public information. The intrusion caused the plaintiff anguish and suffering. The release of his private communications were broadcast to the public. The communications led to the loss of important and close relationships, conflict and chaos in his life. He was harassed and he faced extreme paranoia. The plaintiff was isolated and fearful to communicate with his attorneys or other third parties where he knew that his private information and conversations could and did get released to the general public for mass exploitation. And that's sad in itself. You're sitting here fighting for your life, fighting for your career and everything, and you can't even talk to your lawyer because you're fearful that it's getting out to the public. So you can't even trust that the jail is protecting you when they have a duty to. These people, these employees, they take oaths to protect. They sign paperwork, confidentiality agreements. They don't just violated all of that. This violation even led to the plaintiff having to seek psychological care in the MCC for psychological stress caused by the intrusion of privacy. And I believe that. I believe that because he's already on trial for his life in front of the whole world. And now his, information about him being illiterate and his health issues, everything, what he was going through in jail, all that shit was being leaked. The third cause of action is conversion. This is against an unknown BOP officer, also known as Officer A. This is also against other John and Jane Doe BOP officers whose identities have been concealed by the DOJ and BOP. And this is also against Tasha K. The plaintiff repeats and realleges everything in the complaint so far. The defendant, unknown BOP officer A, made repeated unauthorized access to R. Kelly's private and sensitive information. She downloaded the plaintiff's private information, including email communications, recorded phone calls, visiting lists, and trust account information, and she sold the information to defendant Keeby. Defendant Keeby used the stolen and private information for financial gain by divulging it to millions of people via her YouTube platform. The information belonged to the plaintiff and was maintained by the BOP on behalf of the plaintiff, but for BOP policies assuring the plaintiff that the information would not be disseminated publicly, the plaintiff would never have made certain communications. He's saying right here, if he had knew that they were going to release his information or not, protect it, he would have never talked over the phone. He would have never did any of it. Defendant BOP officer took unauthorized control of the property and shared it with third parties, causing the plaintiff serious damages as detailed above. Now, the fourth cause of action is called civil conspiracy, and this is filed against the BOP officer A, John and Jane Doe BOP officers, and Tasha K. The plaintiff repeats everything that he said so far, and as described more fully in the preceding paragraphs, the individual defendant BOP officers acting in concert with one another and other conspirators, known and unknown, conspired to accomplish an unlawful purpose by unlawful means. In addition, these co-conspirators agreed among themselves to protect one another from liability for depriving the plaintiff of his rights. In furtherance of the conspiracy, the defendant BOP officer, including Officer A, committed overt acts and were otherwise willing participants in joint activity. The violations of Illinois law described in this complaint, including defendant's invasion of privacy and violations of the federal computer fraud and abuse, were accomplished by defendant's conspiracy. The misconduct described in this count was objectively unreasonable. It was undertaken intentionally and in total disregard of the plaintiff's rights. As a direct and proximate result of this misconduct, R. Kelly suffered injuries, including but not limited to emotional distress, as is more fully alleged above. The fifth cause of action is intentional infliction of emotional distress. This is filed against everybody, child. The U.S., the Officer A, Jane and Jane Doe, BOP officers, honey, and Tasha K, child. And they said R. Kelly, he's alleging everything in all the previous paragraphs, okay? Hold up. And he's saying that the acts and conduct of the individual defendants as set forth were extreme and outrageous. The defendants intended to cause or were in reckless disregard of the probability that their conduct would cause severe emotional distress to the plaintiff. The individual defendants' actions and conduct directly and proximately caused severe emotional distress to the plaintiff and thereby constituted intentional infliction of emotional distress. They really did cause that. This was intentional infliction of emotional distress because they knew that this would cause him harm. They knew that this would distress him. So it was intentional. The misconduct described in this count was undertaken with malice, willfulness, and reckless indifference to the plaintiff's rights. As a direct and proximate result of the defendant's wrongful acts, the plaintiff suffered injuries, including but not limited to emotional distress, as is more fully alleged above. Now, the sixth cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress, again, filed on everybody. At all times relevant to this complaint, the defendants had a duty to refrain from willful and wanton conduct. Notwithstanding that duty, these defendants acted willfully and wantonly through a course of conduct that showed an utter indifference to or conscious disregard of the plaintiff's rights. As a direct and proximate result of the defendant's wrongful acts, the plaintiff suffered injuries, including but not limited to emotional distress, as is more fully alleged above. The seventh cause of action was violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. As detailed above, defendant BOP Officer A intentionally accessed information from an agency of the United States of America, namely the BOP, without authorization and divulged, sold the protected information to third parties. So this is interesting right here. They said here that the defendant Officer A intentionally accessed information without authorization. So this would mean to me that whatever she accessed, she didn't have, it was not within her job capacity. She wasn't allowed to be accessing these records because it was unauthorized. So that means she used her credentials doing a job that she wasn't, that didn't require her to access. And she unauthorized these and sold them with, she didn't even have the authority to be going in these records. Specifically, defendant Officer A accessed the TrueView records of R. Kelly, a BOP prisoner, without authorization. This other one did as well. And she exceeded, now see here it is right here. A BOP prisoner, she accessed his records without authorization, or he exceeded authorized access in order to obtain TrueView records, which consisted of the email communications, recorded calls, visitor list, trust account information, and attorney-client communications. So right there, it tells you that she exceeded authorized access. She wasn't supposed to be, she exceeded her access. She wasn't supposed to be doing that. She probably was just somebody that maybe worked in the kitchen, or maybe she, did some other job in the prison, but she wasn't supposed to be accessing these records, period. Defendant BOP officer sold, transmitted that protected information to a third party who publicly disseminated it. A search warrant application filed by Special Agent Liu shows that probable cause exists to believe that defendant Officer A committed the offense of 18 USC 1030 A to B. Losses in excess of $5,000 accrued as a result of the CFAA violation committed by defendant BOP Officer A. The misconduct resulted in an internal investigation by the BOP, an investigation by the DOJ OIG, and both the seizure and examination of a BOP computer hard drive. Wherefore, plaintiff Robert Kelly prays that this court enter judgment in his favor against defendants U.S. States of America, the BOP Officer A, unknown John and Jane Doe officers, and Latasha K, awarding compensatory damages, costs, and attorney fees against all defendants, and punitive damages against each of the individual defendants in their individual capacities, and for such further and additional relief as the court may deem appropriate and just. That was 26 pages. I read that, okay? I read that in an hour and 20 minutes. That was a lot of reading. Okay, now Alma says, please do not believe the rumors. Wait till you learn everything. What rumors? We're actually reading the court documents. So please let me know what you mean by the rumors, because we're not putting out any rumors. We're actually reading what the court has on the docket. This is what R. Kelly has filed. So I don't know what rumors that, Alma, let's be clear. What is it that you're talking about? Yeah, we don't want to put any rumors out about R. Kelly or anything about Tasha or anybody that is not true. We just want to stick to the facts. And that's what we're reading. We're reading the court documents. But my commentary, okay, the rumors people have said about, okay. But I have repeatedly said that that's not what this video is about. We are not talking about anything that has to do with the case, any particulars. We are talking about his violation of his privacy. The records was a violation of his privacy, all to go viral on YouTube. Those records do not belong on YouTube, and that brings this everything that I have been saying about YouTube with this doxing and the culture now that exists where we bring everybody's private information to YouTube. We try to do our big ones. We try to drag people. We go too far. We're calling people's jobs. We just go too far in the name of blogging. This is not blogging, bringing out information that does not belong. This is violations of people's rights. These are breaking laws in order to have exclusives. That's not journalism. Okay. Now, I do know that people obtain documents like, journalists, they do obtain documents all the time. But stuff like this, like you're using an employee to get federal, phone calls and put it out on YouTube and stuff like that. There are like WikiLeaks and all that type of stuff. There are ways around getting documents and stuff. There's rules around it. But the way Tasha did, buying it, I think that's what kind of like makes it criminal when you buy the information. The information about leaking documents and government informants and stuff like that, whistleblowers and shit like that. I think that there's some type of laws and rules around it. Well, when you start buying people's shit and using workers, that's where you're breaking the law. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, of course. I'm going to watch and look at the documents. Every time they post something, I will be out to do my commentary on it. But listen, Tasha got her hands in a lot. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Tasha's been all over the place. She's been in everybody's business. And what's happening is it's starting to come to the light. What you do in the dark comes to light. I have told everybody the year of 2023, it is revelation, and it's a lot of exposés, exposing 2023 was about exposing. Even with myself, there were things that were exposed about me. You know, there were things that I had to stand 10 toes about and accept, and you know what I'm saying, and be put my big girl panties on and deal with. You know, you do things, you have to suffer the consequences. But shit like this is illegal. Like, I would never go this far in the name of YouTube. I just never would. I never would do that. You know, it's not that deep for me. And Tasha K, girl, the chickens are coming home to roost. All the shit that you have partaken in because it's been wicked, and you have had your hands in so much wickedness and darkness, is coming to light. That's all this is. It is coming to light. And there's going to be more, you guys. There's going to be more. There's going to be more people suing Tasha because she's been doing a lot, way too much, all for YouTube clout, all for this imaginary crown that she wants, this title that she wants. She's very reckless. And the fact that she puts her family, I feel sorry for her family. Everything that they built, her and Shaq, I look at, you know, how far they came and what their intentions were. But because he wasn't a man and he didn't put his foot down, he allowed her to drive. He allowed her to be in the driver's seat. Look at the mess that she's created. He should have put his foot down a long time ago. And a lot of people say, well, what's that supposed to mean? You know, what you trying to say? Exactly what I'm trying to say. He's a man. He's the husband. He's the head of that house. He was supposed to lead his household. What did he do? He sat back and he let her lead it because she was what? The talent. Because the money was coming in. She says it all the time. When he seen what she was making, oh, get that bitch some cameras. Get that bitch some microphones. Get that bitch. That's not funny because she let that shit go to her head. You were so busy going to the Dominican Republic, down to Titiba, doing all this that you weren't paying attention. You were not watching her. She was making a mess. She doing underhanded deals, cash apping people so they can troll people and drag people. She got little syndicates going on YouTube. She has put her in everything in jeopardy. Her family is suffering from this financially, emotionally. They are all suffering because of Tasha K's ex. And she better hope and pray her ass ain't on her way to jail, because these charges are very serious. This is some serious shit. This is federal. These are crimes. When you go to jail and you're in a federal prison, your information is supposed to be protected and guarded. I don't give a damn who you are. The worst of the worst, their private information is protected and guarded. Some old reckless YouTube blogger coming along and buying information, bribing people to get. And how much did you pay? How much could she have even paid you? A little 5,000, 2,000. What did she give you for it? I hope you at least got $1,000. Knowing Tasha, I see she be giving 500, 200, 1,000 a year. I'll be looking at the little Cash App receipts on her bank statements. Girl, at least could you have got 10,000? Like, how much did you even get, lady? You risked it all. But they might be unknown for now, but they're going to be, we're going to know who these people are. Okay. Because like this report alleges, the DOJ, they know who these people are. 60 people, 60 employees just accessing his records. And every time, like wherever you work that has passwords or usernames and shit, they can see every time you log in, anytime you access this record or that record. So they know every time it was a hit, anytime his records were hit, they know. You see right there, they said 153 times, just that one person accessed it. 153 times. She was just accessing, printing, emailing, and emailing it right from the DOJ, right from the prison, right from the email accounts. All this shit is going to be tracked, and Tasha K is going down. She's going down. She's going right to jail. How she be portraying R. Kelly in jail, making fun of him in jail, she's going to be in that same jail cell. Period. So you guys, make sure if you catch the replay, I want to know what you think about this. Please drop in the comments and let me know what you think. Let's get some discussion going on about this. To everybody that sent me a Cash App, I appreciate it. My Cash App's been dry. I don't know. I said, what, y'all ain't get paid this week? What the hell? So what is wrong with them? They're not blessed. Like, gosh, just a joke. But thank you. I appreciate it. You guys, we will be getting the monitor on Wednesday. So thank you. Took us some time to get there, but we're going to get the monitor on Wednesday, and I'll be putting that up. And I think our studio will be complete after that. When you guys see what I'm going to do with that monitor, you're going, okay, that was a good investment. Y'all going to be like, oh, that was a good one. That was a good one, Sweet Pea. Thank you, Gloria. I see you. Y'all gonna be like, oh, it was worth it. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. You guys, let's get some conversation going on about this. You see what I do right here? This is journalism, right? This is research. This is blogging. Every time I get receipts, I check them. The story about Tasha K and Cardi B, the lawsuit being terminated, what did I do? I checked the information. I researched it before I came out here and reported. You had people coming out here saying that the damn case was over and that the money was forgiven and Tasha wasn't going to have to pay. What did I do? Researched and gave you the true information. When y'all hit Cash Apps for me, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for truth. You're paying for honesty. You also paying for me to invest in my platform. I'm never going to give you information that is a lie. I'm never going to give you information that is not well investigated or researched. If I can't research a subject and give you a receipt, I'm not going to talk about it. Period. Okay? So you can trust the receipts that come out over here. I'm going to always give you factual receipts. I have integrity, and that's what Tasha K has lost. She lost her integrity. On the quest to get these million subs, she wanted to beat Lovely T. She wanted to, and where you at now? You have a $3.8 million lawsuit. You got a lawsuit with Bishop Whitehead, 300,000 or 300 million or whatever it is. Now you got this lawsuit with R. Kelly. You have lawsuits all over the place. You know why? Because you are a narcissist. This is true narcissistic behavior. Tasha K has this sense that she is the queen and everybody got to bow down to her, give her all the information, give her receipts, give her exclusives. My sources half the time is lipstick alley, it's made up shit. She will do anything and everything. This woman is dangerous. I'm telling you, this woman is dangerous. A person like her, they're dangerous because they will do anything it takes to get ahead. Anything. And that's sad. You could have been so much more. You had so much going for you. But look now, you're in the tubes, down the drain. You might as well flush that YouTube channel down the drain because it is done. You owe every and anybody, child. As quick as you get the money, it's going to go out the door. It's going to go out of the door. Okay? So you guys drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Catch the replay. Like this video on your way out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I will be right back here tonight. We're going over this heifer's bankruptcy. Is it fraudulent? Okay? We have uncovered something in the documents that shows she admitted to filing this lawsuit. This bankruptcy to avoid paying Cardi B. Yes, indeed. We have receipts that show this woman purposely filed this bankruptcy because she was trying to get out of paying her. All right. Thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you. So meet me right back here tonight at 10 so that we can go over these receipts. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.